Good afternoon. Let's try that one more time. Good afternoon. Thank you. That's a round. I love it. You're listening to Eugenie Jones Band. They're wonderful. We'll talk more about them later. But let's. So on behalf of Tim Kimmel, Adam Jordan, and myself, I want to welcome you to our client event, Economic Outlook. This is our 24th year of doing this. I'm so thrilled to see all of you here. This actually, for whether it was because of last night, I don't know, but we have our greatest number of folks we've had here, a total of, I believe it's 560 total over 2 events. So thank you so much for attending. And thank you all for those that are guests that were invited as well. We appreciate that very much. Wow, last night. Our speakers came in from Arizona. I picked them up at the airport. Adam, Tim, Kelly, and myself had dinner last night. And as we were going out to dinner, we were looking at our phones. And of course, we saw the electoral votes stack up pretty quickly. You know what the speaker said? I got to rewrite my speech. But as I was thinking more about the events of last night, I don't know how many of you stayed up to watch the counts and the drama associated with that. I thought about all of you in this room. Tim and Kelly and I know you. We know your political views. We've talked about them. And we know what a tremendous upset this was and a disruption in many of your lives, candidly. And some of you are here to celebrate. But you know what I also thought? Remember the 7 stages of grief? Let me review them with you. Because some of you, candidly, are going to go through that. But I want to focus on the last stage of grief. First, shock and disbelief. Second of all is denial. Third is bargaining. I'm not sure how you do that. Anger, yeah. Fourth is guilt. Actually, anger is number 5. Depression is number 6. But you know what number 7 is? And that's where I hope us all to go to today. What is that? Acceptance and hope. So get over it. Acceptance and hope. And as I thought about also the events of today, we had planned this, as you know, months and months in advance. And we thought it would be very interesting and timely if we had this the day after the election, not knowing all the historic event that we just witnessed. And then as I was looking at the results last night, and I did stay up late to see them, it occurred to me, why did we do this again? But you know what I thought? Knowing the emotions and knowing how for some of you it is raw, for some of it's celebratory, I get that. But then I thought, what better time for all of us to get together to talk about this? So again, I am thankful to be here today. I think you'll find the information timely, relevant, and very specific. Well, one of the things I know that we can all agree on, in fact, there's 2 items. I know we may differ in other ways, but the first thing we agree on is that we're all glad it's over. The second item we can agree upon, I believe, is that our hope and prayer is that we can come together as a nation, we can get rid of our differences, and really be on the road to addressing the problems and issues that we have and have a great future ahead. And that's what I choose to believe, and that's what I think will happen. That deserves an applause. Also, as we thought about this, we should never lose sight of the privilege we have to express our opinion in the voting booth or on the ballot. We're blessed to live in the United States, a place where we do have the freedom to vote. We're forever thankful that we live in a country founded on the principles of life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness. Where all men are created equal. We have the freedom of expression to do exactly what we did last night or yesterday and the days before. The freedom we have, though, did not come at a small cost. It came at a high cost. We should never forget that. As we approach Veterans Day coming up this Friday, a day to honor those that so courageously served us to secure our freedoms. And what's that phrase? Freedom isn't? It sure isn't, guys. We all know that. So, as we approach Veterans Day, as we just got through expressing what is a very right that we have as citizens of the United States, what I'd like to do is recognize and thank those that have so gallantly fought or been in some form of service for our country. So if you have been in any branch of the service, either wartime, peacetime, if you're a spouse of someone that has, please stand up. Let us show our thanks and respect for you. Please stand up. Thank you. And we have a special gift for you all. So if you're a veteran and you stood up, right around the corner as you leave, there's a table. My wife's sitting at it. It says Veterans on it. We've got a card of thanks and a small gift for you. We just ask you to sign our guest book and put your branch of service and your name. So if you could do that, that would be great. Yeah. Well, this is our 24th annual client event, and many of you have been with us that long. Our goal is to do three things. First of all, our objective is to provide some timely insight and perspective on the events of today's economy and how they might affect the market, and boy, is it ever timely. The second objective is to thank you for your trust, your confidence, and your loyalty over the years. Some of you have been with us for literally over 25 years. Part of the acknowledgments and honors that we've gotten nationally and locally is because of a metric which is called client retention. And we have 98% client retention for 10, 15, and 20 years. And that's extraordinary in the industry. So thank you very much. The final objective that we have, remember there's three, is to laugh and have fun. So I hope you'll have fun at our event. I hope you'll enjoy the meal. You'll get a chance to talk to some of the investment folks outside if you wish, and then maybe you'll laugh a little bit more as well. Well, in just a few minutes, we're going to have our luncheon. It'll come out in just a moment. It'll be followed by our keynote speaker, Craig Columbus. But I'd like to, before that, just have a few comments and maybe some introductions. The first thing, I always like to give everybody, including ourselves, a little bit of perspective about who we have in our group today. This, as you know, is our client event. Some of you brought guests, which we thank you for that. Certainly open to that. But you that are clients, think of the time that you first became a client, the year. So by a show of hands, how many have been clients for up to 5 years, within 5 years, say first for 5 years or less? Great, thank you. How about 6 to 10 years? Very good. How about 11 to 15 years? Okay. How about 16 to 20 years? Okay, now we're getting to the senior folks. How about 21 to 25? Oh boy. How about 26 and beyond? There we go. Okay, thank you all. Thank you. We applaud you all. As you all know, I began by teaching classes at the Boeing Company in 1988. Taught classes for 20 years on retirement, 401k planning, investment strategies, insurance, estate planning. Since that, we've expanded. We have clients from all walks of life, from those that are employed by Microsoft, individual entrepreneurs, other businesses as well. Primarily, it still focuses on Boeing, but by a show of hands, how many are associated with Boeing in some way? Okay? And, I thank you since 2009, which is when we stopped teaching the classes. All of our growth, all of our new clients have come from recommendations of you. If you've gotten flyers about a wonderful dinner at Daniel's Broiler or McCormick and Schmick's or wherever it might be, that's not us. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. We're blessed that we don't have to do that because you all have been very good at suggesting others that may have a need for our services come and see us. In fact, since the first of the year, about 87 new people come, and it's all because of you. So I thank you very much. Appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. So once again, your team was recognized nationally and locally by some of the prominent publications over the last year. I feel so humbled and blessed by this. Barron's, for the 7th consecutive year in February 2016, recognized your team as one of the top 1,200 financial advisors in the country, puts us in the top 1%, top 25 in the state of Washington. Thank you. Forbes, a new honor we received, Forbes also recognized the top 200 advisors in the country. And there's only 8 in the state of Washington. So just a few months ago, August, we were notified that we were within the top 200. So, and you know, and let me say this. A huge amount of credit goes to you. What they do in some of these surveys, they interview you all. I don't know who they've talked to, if anyone in this room. And they also look at metrics such as client retention, such as asset growth, and those kinds of things. So I thank all of you for that honor as well. So I appreciate that very much. Also, you may have noticed that we have a tent that's a new addition out in the other area there. Some of you went over there. We're independent, as you know. We work in your best interest. And you see we have about 41 premier money managers. We have about 12 of those in the room over there that you may have seen. So we're thankful for them as well. The only reason they're there, guys, is not because they pay us anything, because they don't. You do. We work in your best interest. The only reason why they're there is because they're doing a good job. And if they don't do a good job, it's Adam and his team that says, you're not on the team anymore. So that's what we do, and that's for you that have seen those money managers over there as well. That's what they're there about as well. Well, let me call your attention to your program. And if you could just open it up to the middle page as your lunches are being delivered. And notice on the right is our agenda for today. But what I want to do is call your attention to the left side where it says Retirement and Wealth Management. So you all have available to you, this is your support, an 8-part total retirement planning program. And these are the 8 parts. We thought we'd put them right down here. And I'm not going to go over these individually. You can read through them yourself. But many of you have been through the pre-retirement process. I don't care if you're 10 years for retirement, 5 years, or 3 years. Those assessments are what we do. Most of you have been through that process. The whole idea is to give you the financial confidence that you can retire with peace of mind and have, frankly, your money last longer than you with conservative assumptions. Many of you are in the post-retirement planning process where we're developing income strategies, required minimum distribution, major expense planning. You see investment, risk, and tax strategies. What I want to point out, though, are the 3 that you see where it says family financial coordination, continuing care planning, and estate transition services. You see, those are unique to our firm. We added those because of you. Because what we're looking at is designing a service approach and strategy that meets your needs. We're trying to give you as much value as we can for what you're paying us, and primarily it's because we see the need. So what do I mean by that? All of us at some point are going to get on in years, and we will have several things happen to us, hopefully many years from now. One is we will pass on. What we've seen, many of you have a will, hopefully you all do, but the estate transition service, what that is guidance and direction specific to your executor. We work hand in hand with your attorneys. Kelly Kolstad, he's the one with the law degree, we don't take the place of your attorney, but we help coordinate any distributions. We help coordinate distributions to kids. We talk about strategies, trust funding, those kinds of things. As part of what we do, it's all included. Second thing you'll see there, continuing care planning. Continuing care, as we get on in years, once again, many times what happens is at some point, you're going to start to slow down. So there's inevitably questions on, do I age in place at home? Do I bring in a caregiver? Not just what's the financial cost, but what are the pros and cons for someone not just calling someone on the phone that you see a phone number or you see a brochure. We're here to serve you. We know you. So what that continuing care planning is all about It's helping you understand the various options, including continuing care retirement communities, assisted living, adult family homes, and just being set right in your home. That's what we're about. We also have retained a consultant for you. So what occurs is if you have, and she's been in a number of your meetings with us as well, if we get to the point where we're looking at different housing options, then we can bring in a consultant that knows a lot more than we do about that to bring in some specific expertise. So we've added that because you know what? We felt that that's a big need. We've actually, Tim, Adam, and myself, we've toured 7 continuing care retirement communities in the area. And as we talk to some of the directors, you know what they tell us? You're the only financial advisors that have ever seen us. Because we believe it's something that's important as a value to give to you. Again, whether you're 50, whether you're 60, or whether you're 80. And by the way, our oldest client is, anyone want to guess? 103. So she's not in the room. So we're hoping all of you make it to that age, by the way. And then the other, you'll see family financial coordination. So family financial coordination, see what happens when you've got a plan in place. The objective is to make sure that if something happens to you, your kids or your heirs know who to contact, the process we go through. We've got that set up too. So we got the plan, and also to make sure that you're not a burden on the kids. We have that. We have a family financial meeting. We have that available to you, and you can see next generation support. We're now getting more into social media. We've got the blog and a bunch of stuff that we've rolled out that you'll see that is, I think, timely and very appropriate. We also talk about, from some of the education classes that we taught, we also talk about the 7 financial principles of successful money management for those under 30. There's a 2-hour class we taught at Boeing. We break that up into 20 minutes during that session. So anyway, a little bit more about what you have available to us, or to you. And we also stay abreast of other items. Just to give you a quick heads up on what we're staying abreast of right now. First of all, for those over 65 that have retired from Boeing, that have the Medicare supplemental plan, you know it's changing. I hear some laughter. So just recognize there's some changes there. We're not suggesting you get out of it, but we are staying abreast of that. It's no longer Aetna, it's Blue Cross of Illinois, I believe, and the rates have gone up. For those under 65, do you know the retirement medical plan is changing? Just be aware. We're staying abreast of that to help inform you about the options and financial consequences of that. And for all of you, Social Security changes, big changes happened the last year, and you know what? With a new administration, I suspect there'll be other changes that will affect your finances. Rest assured, we're staying on top of that as well. But that's part of the role that we serve for you as your financial advisory team. And finally, one other industry change I want to make you aware of. And some of you may have seen this in the press, but there are some new government regulations regulating financial advisors. Anyone seen anything in the press about that? Okay, you will if you haven't. And by the way, it's not a bad thing. They're requiring all advisories and advisory firms that work with retirement accounts and retirees to be fiduciaries, to work in the best interest of every client. Now that's a good thing. We've done that for 15 years, and some of you are probably saying, well, isn't that the way it's always been? There's a lot of commission-type advisors out there. The problem is it's not readily apparent to the average consumer. So recognize that's a change. We're already there. We've been that way for 15 years. It means no change in what we do for you. There may be some forms and other items that you may get in the mail from us or Cetera that you may need to approve. Just be aware of that. Call us if there's any questions on that. So don't hesitate to do that. Well, our lunches are being served. We are going to be entertained by the Eugenie Jones Band. I'm going to recognize them a little bit later as well. But please feel free, enjoy your lunch. We'll come back. We'll bring up our speaker in just a few minutes. Thank you.